Welcome to JFB Bites Artist Spotlights, and in this series of short videos, and I say short, but for those of you that know me know that it's almost impossible for me to talk about art and artists that I love and like in a short space of time. So we're going to try and cut these down to about 10 minutes so as I don't bore you completely. We're going to be focusing on a number of artists that have either inspired me or left me with a very profound reaction to their work, as well as highlighting some really amazing young contemporary artists that have caught my eye recently. Today we're going to be focusing on the paintings of British painter Fred Sorrell. Fred was born in 1984 and studied at Falmouth College here in the UK between 2004 and 2008. He has participated in a number of group shows and undertaken residencies in Antwerp in 2008, Berlin in 2009, and at the Florence Trust in 2012. I first saw Fred's work here in London at the Great Parafin Gallery in February of this year with his first major solo show, Long Tide. It really was here that I saw something that resonated with me. I have a great love of negative space and colour, but his use of op art in this exhibition and use of geometric shapes and structure and the juxtaposition of how the colour plays with rhythm and movement in this show was something that really stayed with me when I left the exhibition. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later when we look at the show in a bit more depth. But what I really wanted to have a look at is this common theme that runs through Fred's work, and really what he focuses on in a majority of his pieces and the evolution of his painting style is this idea of what can be seen and what isn't seen. So his focus remains on searching for how we can visually represent that which cannot be seen. And I think as an artist, he managed to capture this in a really meditative and serene, beautiful way. Firstly, I want to look at the body of work that Fred created whilst he was in residence at the Florence Trust. Here he isn't really planning the paintings before he creates them. He doesn't really have a structure. And in that, it allows for this moment in terms of his creativity, where the lineage of the painting becomes much more fluid. Experimentation of representational painting allows for the emergence of these aggressive but juxtaposed by incredibly tender moments. Though on the surface there is a series of intersecting shapes and gestural marks, there is a hidden narrative in the layers of painting and symbolism and visual reference. This results in the distilling and drifting of visual fragments, which allows in turn, when you're viewing the painting, you the viewer to then internalize and reflect on your own experience. And it's this internalization and reflection of experience that he captures so beautifully, not only in these paintings, but in a much more geometrically structured way in his most recent exhibition at Parafin Gallery. It's clear to see in Fred's work that even in his early pieces and his early style of painting, right through to his most recent exhibition, that he is a person and a human being that has almost like a hypersensitivity and a hyper awareness of energy and nature and his surroundings. And this really comes through in this new body of work, Long Tide at Parafin Gallery, where he starts to completely review the way in which he is creating his painting. So he's no longer working in a much freer basis, but that doesn't mean that he is restricted in the structure, because the result of the paintings allows them to be free in their completion. So in Long Tide, Fred has created a body of work that is representational of colour and form within nature. And how he starts each painting is a reflection on who he is as a person and his dedication to understanding of colour and how that is represented through energy and the geographical and geometrical structures that he puts in place. In his preparation, he is constantly observing, studying, feeling, trying to get a greater understanding of very significant, specific moments. So when he's out in nature, what he does is he takes swatches of canvas with him and paints. And what he is capturing is he's capturing the real life moments within nature and that real life colour palette. And it's very difficult to, as an artist, recreate those colours and that moment after the fact. So what he does is he creates these colour swatches, because when he's hit by those moments, and we all know what they are the moments where you see the beautiful rays of sunshine crawling through a canopy of trees, or the reflection of light glistening off the sea or off a puddle, or the green of the grass changing from sunlight to sunset. And it's that idea that the Impressionist painters took, where you're taking the moment and recreating it. But what he does is he takes these colour swatches and then he goes back to his studio where he sits in a very formulaic way and reconstructs and deconstructs these colours into these abstract geometric forms that result in something that is almost like a wave of energy and capturing what you can't see by giving very small flickers of colour and small gestures of guidance in those structures, creates this incredible rhythmic, dynamic, serene like painting when they're finished. The dynamic interplay and transitional tones of colour creates not only just a representational image, but also invites the viewer to experience nature in the way that he does. For Fred, it's important that the works remain connected to nature and connected to his inspiration, and they're not seen separately. And in his titles, he is reflecting this by referring back to either the places or the seasons where he created the works. What really drew me to his pieces was this idea of connecting to the colours and the structures on many different levels, and the paintings in turn then allow for different readings and different interpretations of where that colour goes and how that dynamic movement through the painting and colour and these transitional spaces enables you to then see what he doesn't see. And it's this negative blank space accompanied by these array of beautiful different colours that sits with the painting, but also creates a vibration and creates something. So upon leaving the gallery and upon having experienced the pieces and the exhibition in such a beautiful space, what happened to me was that I left, and what I started to see were things that I wouldn't normally focus on. And for me, that's why I loved his work and this exhibition so much, is because it's not just instant gratification, it's leaving and still being present and still being moved and still being emotionally connected to those paintings, even though I've left, and helping me to see things in a completely different way and looking at my everyday and reanalyzing it and looking at what I wouldn't normally focus on. Thank you for listening, and if you are interested or would like more information on Fred and his works, please do drop me an email, which will be coming up in the next screen. Also, give me a follow on Instagram and subscribe here on YouTube.